The Sports Central, we go for a college football game preview and prediction on the New Orleans Bowl matchup between Jacksonville State and Louisiana. Two teams that have had good seasons getting to this point. You got Jacksonville State 8-4 in the season. This is the first ever bowl game for Jacksonville State, looking to finish off the season strong with their first ever bowl win as they take on Louisiana, a team that went 6-6. Kind of a disappointing season for the Raging Cajuns, but overall, I mean, considering this team has become a consistent bowl contender the past few years, this is definitely a matchup to keep an eye on, considering they're taking on a team in their first ever bowl game. We'll be covering a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today. Let's get started with their team trends. Jacksonville State lost to New Mexico State 17-20 to finish out the regular season. Obviously a tough loss there. I mean, New Mexico State to get up to 10 wins this season, that's a team that's usually a dumpster fire. So to see them have success is definitely a bit surprising. But I mean, for Jacksonville State, it's a tough loss there. But for this team to get up to 8 wins this season, considering they just transferred from FCS to FBS, I would say it was a pretty successful first season for this team, especially if they can win their first ever bowl game. But as for Louisiana, they beat ULM 52-21, found a way to get up to 6 wins. This is a team that's dealt with a lot of adversity down the stretch. I mean, you consider the injuries. This team is on their third string quarterback at this point in the season. Their first two have gotten injured, and now it's up to Chandler Fields, he's started the past few games for this team, the last 3 or so. So we'll see what he can do in this matchup. But obviously for Louisiana, I mean, really for both teams, Louisiana's kind of had a challenging season. This is a team that's emerged as a true bowl contender the past few years. They've had a lot of success in that way. So only 6 wins is maybe a bit of a disappointment at this point for the Raging Cajuns. But considering what this team has gone through this season, if they can find a way to win this matchup and beat a solid Jacksonville State team, that is a huge win for this team and really a strong way to finish what has been a challenging season for this team. Games be on Saturday the 16th in New Orleans, and your kickoff is 2:15 p.m. Eastern. Spread's going Jacksonville State by 3 here, so seeing Jacksonville State, not too big of a surprise given this team's success this season. Over-under's 56.5, and the FPI is going Jacksonville State as well, 53%. You look at the bowl history for both teams. Obviously, this is the first ever bowl game for Jacksonville State. As for Louisiana, this team is 7-3 overall in bowl games. They've been in a bowl game each of the past 3 years and won it in 2020 and 2021. Did lose last season, but overall, this is still a team that's found success in bowl season. Your stat comparison: Jacksonville State 56th in points per game, 20th in points allowed. This is a strong team defensively, but they do allow a lot of yards against the pass. They're 115th in pass defense this season, 24th in rush defense, and really their own passing game isn't very strong either. They're 118th in pass yards a game, but they are 3rd in rush yards a game. This is a team that knows how to run the ball with their quarterback, and they obviously in the rushing game, they've got a strong backfield as well. So that's the main thing for Jacksonville State, and they're obviously going up against a Louisiana rush defense that's been somewhat vulnerable this season as they're 89th in rush defense. But the key factor as well is how good is Louisiana when it comes to the passing game, because, I mean, Jacksonville State's got the 115th ranked pass defense in the country, so you can kind of take advantage of that. But you look at the quarterbacks for Louisiana this season, obviously started with Ben Wooldridge before he got injured, and then Zion Chris, and then eventually once we got to mid-November and he got injured, it's on to Chandler Fields. And in each of Chandler Fields' games, this team has achieved nearly 250 or over pass yards out of him. So he's the strongest quarterback on this team when it comes to passing from what we've seen so far. So that is something to keep in mind, is that Chandler Fields can pass the ball, and he's pretty effective in doing so. So definitely keep an eye on that. And the rushing game as well for Louisiana. They've found success there, being 27th in the country in rush yards a game. Your recent matchups: Jacksonville State lost to New Mexico State by 3. They took care of Louisiana Tech, no problem, 56-17. Lost to South Carolina by 10. Beat FIU 41-16, and also beat Western Kentucky 20-17. They've had a successful season, so a couple of nice wins down the stretch for the Gamecocks. But as for Louisiana, beat UL Monroe 52-21, lost to Troy by a touchdown, lost to Southern Miss by 3. Both of those losses really winnable games for this team, and really this team could be an 8-4 team heading into this matchup given a couple of those close losses. They did get beaten up against Arkansas State by 20, but obviously that was a tough game with the quarterback situation, and then beat South Alabama 33-20. So Obviously, down the stretch, this team has lost 3 of 4, but I feel like there's still some good momentum with this team, given that win in the final week, and also Chandler Fields emerging as actually a pretty successful quarterback when it comes to the passing game. Your key points: Jacksonville State 9-3. This team is competing in their first ever bowl game, so that's obviously something that you want to win your first ever bowl game, so they're going to be motivated in this matchup, that's for sure. Zion Webb is a strong rusher, not so much in the passing game. He does turn over the ball a little more than you want him to, so that is obviously a bit of a downside, but he knows how to run the ball, and really in the past this season, he's Jacksonville State's also split time between obviously Logan Smothers before he got injured, and down the stretch it's only been Zion Webb. But once again, he's a true dual threat quarterback that knows how to run the ball. But as for Louisiana, this team is on their third string quarterback, Chandler Fields, who turns out to be a strong passer from what we've seen the past few weeks. And so, that's definitely a good thing for this team. You would think out of most teams on their third string quarterback, their offense would be a disaster. I really don't think that for Louisiana. I feel like this team is still very effective offensively. You look at how they played against Louisiana Monroe. I know ULM is a really bad football team. They went 2-10 this season, but still they found a win. They scored 52 in that matchup, which is impressive against any conference opponent. But for the Raging Cajuns as well, considering the injuries, not a bad season for this team, especially if they can find a way to beat a Jacksonville State team that's obviously going to be motivated in this matchup to win their first ever bowl game. And that's a factor that shouldn't be forgotten, is that Jacksonville State isn't even supposed to be in this position because of their transition and being ineligible. It's just the fact that there's not enough 6-6 teams. And so for Jacksonville State, they're going to want to take advantage of this. This is the first ever chance they have at playing a bowl game. They're going to want to win it here. And I can imagine that's going to be a big factor in this matchup. But with that, let's get a prediction here for Jacksonville State and Louisiana coming up here in the New Orleans Bowl. And in the end, I am going Jacksonville State. 34-31 is my predicted final score. I feel like Louisiana honestly might be the better team in the matchup. I feel like the way Louisiana looks in the passing game right now, the last 3 games with Chandler Fields have actually been pretty good. And obviously Jacksonville State being a team that's just not very good against the pass, that could be an issue. But for Jacksonville State, I just feel like the energy that this team is going to have, and also, their rushing game is tough to defend. They are 3rd in the country in rush yards a game for a reason, and so I think Jacksonville State finds a win. This is going to be a higher scoring matchup for sure. So I'm taking over for sure, and honestly, this is one of those games where it's really tough to predict anything else. I'm taking Jacksonville State 51%. I don't use a 51% too often, but this is one of those matchups where it really is a coin toss. It could go either way. Louisiana might be the better team in the matchup, but Jacksonville State, for this team to have their first opportunity, and not even, this team wasn't supposed to be in this position given everything that's happened with their transfer from FCS to FBS, but they're going to take advantage of their opportunity that they've been given. They win this matchup 34-31. But with that, let me know your thoughts and comments below on this matchup. My name's Evan. This is All Sports Central. Stay tuned for more from ASC. We'll catch you on the next one.